Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. Anyhow, folks, welcome to Politics Done Right. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Welcome aboard. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Welcome aboard. Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Welcome aboard. We also have AVQ from the one and only Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. She says, happy day, people. Hope you're good. We are good, beautiful. You are here. It means we're good. And by the way, folks, for those that are listening to the show in the mornings as well, the 6 o'clock show Central Time, sometimes it gets so busy with all the connections that I have to do with the studio. Sometimes I forget to get the right screen up for the for the chat. So forgive me when that stuff happens. Okay, today I saw some nice, good discussions in the chat on the 6 o'clock show. And by the way, it's Radnin who said, "Hey, wait, did you start early?" Let me give the schedule again. What happens is the live shows are at 3 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and 6 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. In other words, 10 live shows, and reruns occur at noon, at 6, and at 9 at night. And by the way, on Saturdays, we also have the 3 o'clock is a rerun as well. Just thought I might let you know for those who kind of get confused from seeing live. Sometimes it's sometimes it's just a repeat of the show going. Like the KPFT show was on between 12 and just before 3. I kind of loop them to keep it going. Anyhow, I hope all's doing fine. Radne said yesterday the conservatives in the chat were talking about the crime in Springfield, Ohio, not realizing it's some of their own doing, the crimes. NPR, bomb threats followed Trump's false claims about Springfield. Many in Springfield, Ohio, have felt uneasy for the past week. A string of bomb threats shut down city and school. Public events have been canceled, and state troopers have been sent in to guard students going to school. These developments follow former President Donald Trump repeating debunked claims on national TV about Haitian immigrants eating pets. Local city and police officials have said there's no evidence of this happening. The false claims were originally circulated online by far-right activists, neo-Nazis, and some local Republicans, though local police said they were baseless. NPR reported earlier this month. Eventually, they were shared on social media by Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. How responsible. Trump's running mate, and then repeated by the former president on a debate stage, which made him look very silly, childish, ill-informed. Members of the Haitian community, many of whom have arrived over the past 4 years, are concerned about the safety. And the funny thing about it is the Haitians came into the community and they rebuilt a fractured community, a community that was falling apart. They gave it a lifeline. And the same thing is happening in a little town in Pennsylvania as well. These immigrants come in and give it a lifeline. And then after they do the good stuff, the people start to get, oh, they're creating Haitian restaurants and Haitian this and Haitian that, revitalizing business. And a lot of people in the community realize, hey, we like the idea that we have another kind of food as well. We like Haitian food. We like Panamanian food. We like Mexican food. We like Costa Rican food. And they make businesses out of it, and they hire people in the but you know what? A lot of these guys that are out there that are complaining are a bunch of losers, right? They sit down and wait for their government check. They wait for their welfare check. And while these Haitians come into the community and work, you have a whole, like they did an interview on a woman that said, "Oh, it's changing the community. They're coming to take over." Really? Lady, get a job. You know, go work for one of the Haitians. They would love to have you. Madre mia. Watching late on, yes, this is from Rudden again. Watching late on yesterday's replay with Greg Palace was talking about this nutter. Conservatives in the chat always talk about political violence again, not never realizing it's some of their own doing the violence. Washington Post from 2020, an ex-cop held an AC repairman at gunpoint. That happened here in Houston. Claim he had 750,000 fake ballots. An air conditioner repairman was driving his truck through Houston in late October when a black SUV suddenly slammed into his tail. When he got out, the SUV driver leaped out and pointed a gun to his head. When the police officer arrived, offered an incredible tale. The driver, he said, was the face of a vast election fraud scheme that had 750,000. It was a lie. These guys, I mean, and the thing that Trump and them do is they create the commotion, they create the problem, and then they are long gone as the country is left to clean up the act of those what I call virtual terrorists. Lee Grant is in the house, Montgomery County. How you doing, Lee Grant? All right, let's see what we have. I really don't care about Brett Favre. Brett Favre is a, what can I say? He's a loser. He's a loser. I'm sorry that he got Parkinson, but he's a damn loser, a creep. Take people's tax dollars while he's a millionaire. Again, he's nothing but a taker. All right, let's continue. Paul Fleming says Donald Trump says he's going to work a French fry job at McDonald's. Perhaps that will give him an opportunity to explain to McDonald workers why he didn't lift a finger to raise the minimum wage, or why his tax cuts for massive corporations like McDonald's didn't trickle down. If he shows up at a McDonald's, I hope that we have our people ready to bird dog him. We have to be ready to bird dog him that he didn't go for the minimum wage increase. He didn't go for releasing people's pension. We have to hit him hard. Paul Fleming says, no, this is, Eric Hayes says, wonder what kind of progressive media would treat the happenings that Orange Man has faced via July and just recently on his golf course if roles were reversed. When you're as evil as Donald Trump, again, nobody that I know, no progressive that I know want the guy to be gone. But by the same token, the way we see it is the way it really is. It's an evil guy, very evil guy. All right, but he says Trump couldn't work a door handle. I know. Anyway, what I'm going to do, the first video I'm going to show is an interview with my sister. And I'm working on her. I want you to listen to this interview in the context that we did it, and then we'll take it on the other side. I love my sister. And one of the reasons I said, don't let politicians get in between you and your family, in between you and your friends, etc. Realize that I think my brother Eric Hayes, for believing in Trump, for voting for Trump, is not only, in my opinion, and he's my friend, naive, immoral, and I don't know how you look your kids in the eye after voting for Donald Trump, but I won't let that stop me from trying to engage with my brother. Just like I won't let my sister, what happens with my sister. I want you guys to listen. I love my sister to death. Check this out. Welcome to another edition of Politics. This is Egberto Willis, your host. Folks, you know what we talk about here. We are a program that wants to make sure to include every ideology, every part of the political spectrum, etc. I've spoken to all of you about do not allow politicians to create friction among us, whether that be family, friends, or otherwise. And we practice what we preach. Now, I am honored this
this morning, but whenever you see it, to have my sister from San Diego in the studio at Politics Done Right here in Houston, Texas. She came in from San Diego. I love my sister dearly. But let me tell you something. My sister is diametrically opposed to me politically. But there's one thing that we always remember. Numero uno, we will never, ever let any politician or ideology get between us. That is what we preach. That is how we are going to change the system around here. So I begged her for an interview. This is all natural, no practice, no nothing, okay? So anyhow, Clara Gill, she is a financial planner. She is all these great things. she is a leader in her church. She's an evangelical Christian, all the things that I'm not. And she is my sister who I love dearly. Clara Gill, welcome to Politics Done Right.
Thank you.
Anyway, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I want to say first and foremost that we love each other very much, and that alone creates the unity. However, I am very conservative, so obviously there are many differences.
But even as you're conservative, what does that mean as for? Actually, you know what?
It means primarily we don't talk politics.
Well, but we do talk politics sometimes.
Well, yeah, I try to avoid it.
She tries to avoid it, but we make sure and keep it going. But anyway, what does conservative mean to you? Being a conservative, what does that mean to you?
It means first and foremost that I'm a child of God, and that my goal is to be pleasing to God. I want to live my life worshiping the Lord and just meeting his ideals as much as I humanly can.
And how do you think that makes you different from your brother who grew up with you as a Christian in the Christian church, but has become a humanist? Do you think, given what we know about each other as human beings, that we are all that much different, forgetting about politics altogether?
Well, I think that's what makes the difference. I think the difference come in that you give priority to different things. Your focus is on what you believe is socially right, and my focus is what God says is right.
And do you think that differs a lot? Based on what you know, do you think that differs a lot from what progressives believe? And by the way, I am a real progressive as well. And I think sometimes we make a caricature of conservatives, and I think conservatives make a caricature of progressives. But we came from the same genesis, you and I, as family members. We grew up in the same household. We had the same mother and father. We did all these things the same and ended up at different levels of the political spectrum. How different can we really be?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm glad you put it that way, right? And let me tell you this. The reason I want to put it this way is this. My sister is a conservative, and she says that I put social issues first. And she puts what the Lord wants first. But interestingly, this woman has the kindest heart of anybody that I know. Everything that I do socially, she does out of the goodness of her heart. She comes into Texas, she does things out of the goodness of her heart. So where I see people make big differences among what you promote and what I promote, it behooves me because, like I said, I don't see, again, we're not going to talk about the sensitive issues like abortions. We're going to disagree on that issue, on abortion. We're going to disagree on
border control.
Border control. I don't know why that one is, but we're going to disagree on border control, right? But I think that I still don't see how that becomes the majority of what makes us love on each other, what makes us not communicate with each other. What's your thoughts on that?
I think we communicate on everything except politics.
No, but I'm not talking about you and I. I'm not talking about you and I because you claim that we don't talk politics, right? But the truth of the matter is, we may not talk politics talking Trump or talking these issues, but we talk about doing the things that politics is all about. So I disagree with you on that. I think we talk about what we want to do for people. You sit down and you in the couch with Linda and Ashley. You guys, you may not call it politics, but many a times you are talking politics because that's, it's the things to talk about. But I'm talking about when it comes to how you relate to people. Because yesterday you were showing us a whole lot of pictures of the Vicente's retirement and all of that. And what I did notice is that most of the people that you were in were the people in your church or the immediate people that Vicente worked with. A few of the people
neighbors.
But a few of the people that we grew up with. But it was a decidedly conservative bunch, right? It's almost like we are self-isolating in some regards, which I think is what creates a lot.
I think that tends to happen naturally. We live in a community that's really not necessarily all conservative, but you're right. It's like you kind of find the conservative friends somehow.
Right.
And well, church, obviously, most of them, isn't that weird? Most of them are very conservative. You would think all, but most are very conservative. At work, I would say no. So Vicente's work friends aren't necessarily conservative at all. Now,
the thing about it now that I want to hit you upon is sometimes people have a tendency to believe I am a bit different because I'm a humanist. I do believe in a supreme being and all that sort of stuff, but I just don't believe in organized religion. But a lot, if not probably the same percentage of conservatives and progressives, I do think, are church-going folks, don't you think?
Yes, I totally agree, which kind of puzzles me many times.
Tell me why it puzzles you.
I don't understand how somebody that believes in the Lord could in any way support abortion. I just don't understand that. I think God established borders, and there is a reason for that. I don't understand why somebody would want socialism into our country. I don't understand why race plays an issue. I think we should each see each other as just people. I think we give each other a lot of grace because we have a lot of different customs and backgrounds, and we're different. So we give each other a lot of grace. But I don't see why race and accusing one of one thing and the other, I don't see that. I do think behaviors makes a difference. And I think there are standards of behaviors that we should live by.
You don't think race plays a big role in our society right now?
I think people make it a big issue, but I don't think it should.
It shouldn't be a big issue. No, I agree with you. It shouldn't be a big issue. But look, and this is a plug for my book right here with my sister. I haven't given her to read yet, but I'm going to give her a signed copy to read. Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. We're both Afro-Latinos, And I wonder sometimes, because my experience I've recounted a lot of stories in this book where I was affected racially, both in business and my professional career. And I wonder how much of it is that I know how you want the world to be as far as racially blind. I don't think it is. I think you think it is more so than I am.
Not racially blind. I don't think you're racially blind because I don't give up being Panamanian and give up being black. I grew up being black, and that's what I relate. That's who I am. I'm not African American because I don't have the same customs.
Well, no, we are. That's why we are Latino Frino.
Yes. Yeah. And so I don't think you ignore that because I want to share my food. I want to share my
culture,
homemaking, my whole culture. Exactly.
Right.
And so, no, you don't give up that, but you're able to appreciate what everybody brings to the table.
I think that is true. I think that's how you live your life because I've seen you live your life that way. Push back a little bit to my beautiful sister. I do think that you don't, because of your environment, I don't think you see a whole lot of what's outside. But again, maybe after you read my book, you'll see some of what your brother went through from a racial standpoint and why I take some of the positions that I take. But we can only get this place, Clara. Go ahead.
I have to tell you, just
yeah, go ahead.
Once or twice there's been circumstances, and who knows, maybe a lot more, but the times that I was keenly aware of it, I saw it as their problem, not mine.
I agree. But that's because of how we grew up. We grew up with a lot of our parents. I started out the book saying we had the best parents. And the reason I say that is that what they did is they gave us that oomph that said, and in fact, that may be the reason why you take the positions you take, because you know nobody's better than you are, and you are better than nobody.
Exactly.
That's how we grew up. But I can't live my life for just folks that have lived as a host, as an activist. I can't live my life for just, well, I have this self-confident and I don't let all those externalities. They're the ones with the problem. I can't live like, I have to look at those that didn't have the wherewithal to have grown up that way, right? But so when it comes to the racial issue, and this is where I say, I think a lot of times there are a lot of differences that we have between conservatives and progressives that aren't really there. It's a perspective issue and not a difference in what you say. Now, the abortion, that is not a perspective issue. That is a real issue. And I don't think, even between you and I, we will never, ever get over that hump, because your belief in the abortion issue comes from what you think the Bible say. My belief in this is women's rights, and we are not going to be able to square that. But that isn't the only issue that creates society or an environment. You mentioned something about socialism. I think to some extent, folks don't understand when they use what I call the socialist trope. They don't understand that. But we have decades under which we can always talk about these issues. But I'm serious. We have decades we can talk about these issues without, and talk about what things are. Because what happens is, I wish you used to listen to Politics Done Right more often. Because what happens is,
I try to keep my soul calm. Everything calm. So no, I don't. Neither one.
But I know. But she doesn't use a TV anymore or anything like that. But let me tell you, because when we break down, and we talked about this on KPFT and the other stations, when we break down the issues that we stand for, and that the other side, your side, like to call socialism, it's one of the biggest misrepresentation of what we believe in. You've known me all. Yeah, let me no, it's cool. You've known me all your life. I mean, you've known me to be a self-starter, build on my own, all of that my entire life.
Right.
That's what I think everybody wants to do ultimately. But we have this chasm. Is it chasm? Is that the word? Chasm, where that doesn't get done. So I mean, you brought up some great issue: socialism, abortion, the border. Now the border, you and I off camera gonna have to have a big fight about border.
No, we won't.
Say, you know what I mean by fight now, and the reason why is this: from the border standpoint, the border is a problem that isn't at the border. Everybody sees a problem at the border as being the problem, but they don't look at the policies behind what creates a problem at the border. And I think that is, the people on the right, the people on the left, nobody wants to tackle that problem as it should. And I think until we get into more depth as far as these issues that cause that, we're just talking past each other. But the big issue that we wanted to discuss here, that I wanted to discuss with that
I disagree with you.
Okay, no, go ahead. No. If you disagree, this is your platform.
I absolutely disagree with you. There is just, we started doing something that was very successful. Mm-hmm. So the idea that it's not at the border, I'm not real sure which news you're watching. Actually, I think the news you watched doesn't really talk about the border.
Yeah.
But the issue at the border is a tremendously real issue that has tremendously real impacts on all of us. And by the way, primarily on the African American community.
That I understand that is the message that is put out there. You noticed you just said, I don't know what media you look at, which is, no, it's important that you said that. Believe it or not, that is part of the discussion. And it's why we have to start building trust in the area of media. And the thing about it, folks that are listening, me and my sister hadn't talked about immigration, and I absolutely don't know why. And I think we haven't spoken
about much of anything, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Recently?
Not recently. Okay, not recently. Because you guys abandoned. We used to. Yeah, but you abandoned me in Texas. You stayed your butt in California.
We have not.
It did not till you came over. Anyway, the immigration issue, there's a whole lot of misinformation, and unfortunately, and we are immigrants. Mm-hmm. We are immigrants. And I have a very soft spot for immigrants that weren't able to do it the way we did. But I'm going to shut the immigration issue out with one thing. Mm-hmm. Most of the people undocumented that are coming over here are coming over here, the vast majority looking for a job, looking for some sort of an economic security. The people who founded this country, they came, they conquered, they pilfered, they genocidal, they committed genocide. Then they said, this is ours. So what I tell my friends on the right is something as follows. We should have some, what's the word that you used earlier in our program? Grace? Mm-hmm. We should start looking about having more grace. There's a pastor here in town that talks about that. He's a progressive pastor. That gives
me room for thought.
Exactly. So what we have to do is really get in. My wife right now participates in building bridges, where we brought a conservative church, a progressive church together, and they sit down and talk these issues over. I think it is high time for us to do that. Even brother and sister, we need to have more conversations on that civilly. In other words, just going point for point, having people to have discussions on these issues. But this shows you how deep that these particular issues. Yeah, go ahead, babe.
I want to add one thing to everything you just said. Where there's a rule of law, there's a reason for that. And we live by that rule of law. I say that, obviously, when you see somebody and, they may not be legal, there is a soft spot. But as a standard, there is a rule of law, and that rule of law should be followed. And so, no, there is no such thing as grace for people crossing the border in the thousands, hundreds of thousands that it's happening.
I don't know if I understand what you mean by the grace. Because
there is no grace. You just simply do not. I don't care what reason you're crossing the border for. I don't care that there is you're being lured by jobs or anything. There is a law. You live by that law. That is true in every facet of our lives.
And how do we handle, again, we are here today with that occurring, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of grace do we have for those who did it differently, meaning came in to conquer, kill and pilfer? What do you think about those folks who did that?
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
I'm talking about the people who founded the country.
I cannot discuss that with you. I have no idea. I don't think your characterization of it is exactly correct, but I wouldn't discuss that. There is currently a rule of law, regardless of what might have happened, many years ago. I have no idea. Today, there's a rule of law. There has been a rule of law, and that's what we need to go by.
Okay, and here's my answer to that one. And then my answer to that one is as follows. You're correct. There is a rule of law that follows. There are some of us who may think the rule of law is correct and how they came about is incorrect. And I am of the thought process that we change it when we change it if necessary. Let me give an example.
Change what? The law?
No. Let me back up. Let me go to the set that you don't particularly want to talk about. Let's say when the settlers came from England and Europe to conquer America. Let's just stop there they came and established what the rule was going to be. Okay? They established what the rule.
That has happened with many countries.
And exactly. And that's what I'm saying now. What I'm saying now is my progressive thought process, which will differ from yours, is that I think we as a country have to atone for what we have done to others, and that atonement is immigration. And that's fine. You don't have to agree with that one, right? And the thing about it is, when enough of us decide that change is going to occur, that's a change is going to occur, and that's a natural thing. We all move in, we all change society, and that will happen in a natural way. And whether it be when we change immigration policy, etc., that will happen. So I mean, it is this disagreement here is fine. And what we're going to do, but really, this disagreement is fine. What we're going to do is eventually one side is going to ultimately come out with what most Americans are convinced is best. What most Americans, you can comment on that.
Prayerfully, the Lord will come back first.
But anyway, look, Clara, Encia, my sister, this is what I really want. So we disagree on a whole lot of stuff, and we will talk about some of these other issues. But the idea is we have, as a country, we have to be able to, whether you disagree with somebody, not make that be a fatal issue with your relationships.
Correct.
You cannot, and look, Trump, Biden, none of those guys care about either one of us as individuals. None of them.
Oh, Trump.
You heard what she said, right? I'm proving this to you. You heard that? But listen, they don't
You
care.
gave me the platform.
It's your platform too, of course. That's what I tell people all the time. It's their platform. I got a lot of conservative callers and people that are part of the chat, everything. And that's good. I mean, that is it. But folks, I'm going to close it this way. Our economic system depends. Capitalism depends on the two of us going through each other's throats. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen.
Not at all.
And the fact of the matter is, when we are able to do this as a society, we are going to make a real change. And the change is not that I'm going to get all that I want. And sis, as stubborn as you are not going to get all that you want.
I hope to.
But you're not. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you for listening to this. The purpose of this discussion is to say, let's love on each other, and let's remember one thing. We're one country, one race. We just have to figure out how this stuff is all going to be. And Clara,
I agree. Oh, we agree.
Get out of here. I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you, because I know this took courage on your part to just come out and do it. And you did a great job.
Thank you, Mano.
All right, babe.
I love you.
All right. Anyway, folks, thank you.
All right, that's my big sister. She is the conservative one. My little sister that you guys have seen before is the progressive one. And like I said, the most important thing that I wanted to bring out in this stuff here is that I always tell people something that is very important. You don't let politicians or these ideologies get in between you and your family, you and your friends, etc. And one of the reasons I try to hold on to everybody, and you see, even our damn our damn MAGA folks in here, when I tell you I love my MAGA folks as well, the idea is to let you guys also see it's real. It's real. I am trying to really make a change and create spaces where we can actually interact. And just like I told her, you ain't getting everything that you want. You're not. You're not, right? And the same is, we definitely as progressive haven't gotten half the stuff that we want so far. But Michael, we are working on it, right, Michael? We're gonna do it, Michael. You know, Michael, we're gonna do it. Okay. Anyway, folks, I have some other videos to show you guys today. This is another good one. You know, Trump have been out there talking about, crime. Well, that lie was debunked, and I told you guys yesterday I was going to have it on, so here it is. Donald Trump, with the aid of local media, national media, you know, that stuff that says if it bleeds, it leads, gave the impression that crime is rampant, and if you go outside, crime may actually hit you. What I always ask people to do is look around your neighborhood. When was the last time you saw a violent crime in your neighborhood, in your area? Now, you watch TV, a city like Houston of over 3-4 million people, you know, if you see 2 or 3 murders every other day or every week or so on TV, if it bleeds, it leads. They make it look like, there is a rampant crime. First of all, you know, crime is localized, and most of the crime occurs with people who know each other, except for the random otherwise. But again, if you watch the TV, you get that impression. So we have the local news media, the national news media, helping the false narrative that Donald Trump and MAGA are putting out there that somehow crime is rampant. But we know it's not true. It hasn't been true. Even when we have had high crime rates in the aggregate, in the lives of any individual American, even as our crime rate, because we have a lot of guns, etc., is more so than in places like Switzerland, etc., in the aggregate, it would be rare that any one individual encounters crime. But again, we have numbers, and the FBI came out with numbers that says now, provedly, that crime has fallen faster than it at any time since records started to be taken. But it is also reported from all major cities. 94% of the entire population are covered in these numbers. I mean, the right wing, as soon as the crime rate started to drop, they had this lie that they put out there that says, but they're not really accurately counting because a lot of places aren't reporting. Well, the FBI report proves that to be false. In other words, the FBI report that comes out and says crime is falling is actually real. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
We're here today to talk about how we are going to stop the Kamala crime wave that is going on at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Since Comrade Kamala Harris took office, her administration's crime statistics show she's presided over a 43% increase in violent crime. These are all government numbers. 43% increase in violent crime.
Donald Trump is running on claims that the country is a violent dystopia, a place where, as he says, you can't even go buy a loaf of bread without getting mugged, shot, or raped. But do the actual numbers match his rhetoric? Joining us now, NBC News justice and intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian. I bought 2 loaves of bread yesterday, Ken, and I am happy to report that I did not get mugged, shot, or raped when I was doing it. What do the crime numbers, the FBI numbers, say in regards to what's happening in this country? And what do they mean for Donald Trump's 43% numbers?
Well, that's just flatly wrong, what Donald Trump said. The latest numbers from the FBI, which come from cities, by the way, the FBI doesn't make these numbers up, showed that violent crime overall declined by a rate of 3% in 2023, and that murder declined 11.6%. That's the largest single-year drop on record. Now, of course, the context here, Katie, is that this is all coming after a huge spike in violent crime during the pandemic. And really what's happening is it's settling back to pre-pandemic levels, which were historically low. But what you'll hear Donald Trump say is, well, a lot of the big cities aren't reporting to the FBI anymore. That's just not true. It was true in 2021 when they changed how they collect crime data. But this latest data covers 94% of the population. Every city with a population of 1 million or more reported 12 months of data. That's New York, LA, Chicago, and they're all reporting crime is down. That rally you showed was in Michigan. I traveled to Detroit. I interviewed the Detroit police chief. He said that what Donald Trump is saying is just not true. He invites Donald Trump to walk the streets of Detroit with him, which have become much safer than they used to be, Kate.
So yes, don't be fooled. Crime rate had jumped up, ironically, to seasonally high rates during COVID, etc. But please do remember, most of us will never come close to encountering the violent crimes, etc., that you see on TV every day. If it bleeds, it leads. So don't have your vote made on the basis of fear. Make your votes on the basis of morality, on the basis of data, on the basis of truth. That is important. We have to stop allowing both our mainstream media, if it bleeds, it leads, and Donald Trump and MAGA to monopolize on our psyche. It is imperative that we open our eyes and do something that they are attempting for you to forget. And it's something known as critical thinking. Critical thinking.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely join, folks. And by the way, I wrote a corresponding vlog for that video as well. Please take a look at it. It's right here, where I give some more information on crime. The interesting thing about it is all these people that fear crime so much, right? They've never even seen it. You know why? Because again, the problem is the media. If it bleeds, it leads. They find wherever crime is happening and they put it out there. And everybody think this city of 4 million people, if they see one or two murders, well, I think we have one or two murders or however it is, they suddenly go into a panic. Oh my God, murder rate in Houston is, again, 4 million people. My country only has, I think, 4 million people living in Panama right now. And when you think about how crime works, I mean, look, it is the problem right now is too often we allow. And by the way, Ray, if you're listening, give us a call now, Ray. That was a video playing, which meant I couldn't answer the phones. But if you, Eric, get off of the Jocelyn thing. You keep using the same darn name over and over. Let the girl rest in peace. That's one thing. You want me to go ahead and call all the people that are murdered by the cops often? You want me to call out all the people that's been murdered by our society based on our social programs? You want me to call out all the people that were murdered by our founding fathers? Come on, grow up. All right, my dear brother Ray, let me get the right speaker system set here. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, Brother Egberto, and I just want to say thank you for sharing that intimate conversation with your beautiful sister. she's a nice lady, but I definitely could see where, you know, we all would have a difference of opinion. And I guess, you know, where I'm trying to be better as a person, just taking example from that very conversation y'all had, you know, especially through the pandemic, you know, one thing you know about me is I was very close to my dear mother, and my dear
Absolutely.
mother was
Yes.
a progressive, you know, and the thing about my mother and myself is we absolutely loathe the idea that conservatives and people who, you know, otherwise, you know, were apathetic to what type of damage Trump was doing to our country in terms of his incompetence and his narcissism. You know, it was hard for us to be able to stomach, you know, a conversation with these people, because literally we are sitting there mentally and emotionally suffering, and you're just sitting there like, it's God's will, or it's what's supposed to happen, or that's just the way things are supposed to be. And it's like, at some point, I just get filled with so much anger and rage. I just want to, you know, it takes me to a very dark place. And it's like, yes, you know, congratulations. I'm so glad you're able to have conversations with your sister, but that's your blood. And that maybe at some point you figured, hey, this is my blood. I need to learn how to get along with this person. And you
Let
figured
me
out how to apply that same principle.
let,
Wait,
yeah,
one last thing,
yeah,
Alberto.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You figured out how to apply that principle to everybody, but I have to be able to do it. I don't have any blood siblings, by the way, so I would have to learn how to apply that principle to basically everybody. But it's a struggle, Egberto. That's
I
what I
know
want to say.
it is hard, and there are times that there are times my sister and I would be talking, and I want to take my hand and just hold her and shake her and say, "What's wrong with you?" That's a common feeling.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
so okay, but here's what I also know, right? I also know that my sister knows that Linda is down, and that she flies from San Diego and come down here and just get busy and get stuff done. She and her husband. I also know that when Ashley or anyone goes to San Diego, that they make sure that they're well cared for, etc. I also know that I see her give and give and give and give people all of the time. So I also know that she's just taking people into her home and taking care of them. So what I'm saying, and this is where I'm trying to go over. I project what I see my sister as a super conservative, and my sister is likely she's not MAGA exactly, but that's the news that she hears, right? And also, I know that
Yeah.
again, that is her frame. That's her frame, and then not to speak about the evangelical church that she belongs to. That is those when I talk about
Yeah, that part.
I hope you read the blog that I have accompanying this stuff. These externalities work. Look, we have Mike Cisak in the chat. We have uh, 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 Eric Hayes in the chat. Look, Eric Hayes and Mike would come out with some uh, verifiable crap on the screen, but those are the people that they have trust in. Is Eric is CSAC a bad guy? I mean, some of the stuff that you hear is CSAC say sometimes you want to squeeze him. CSAC borders on being a racist, okay? But it's not because he wants to be a racist. It's because it's how he was reared, right? So if you take a look at the way CSAC, and I'm notice I know they're all in the chat, so I'm speaking freely. We're a family. We can speak like this. If you listen to what CSEC says sometimes, when we talk about certain kind of crime, you'll then say, yes, but that is in the city, or that is a lot of minorities. What the hell is he saying there? He's saying that, well, the reason crime is high in this part of in the reason crime is greater in red states is because if you look at where the crime is concentrated, it's in the cities in red states, and the cities in red states are minorities, as opposed to saying that is socioeconomic conditions that cause that. And if you go to the rural areas as well, you'll see, I mean, the rural areas only have a little bit of people, so you don't have the congestion that you have in the major cities. But if you take a look at the crime in the little cities as well, if you look at the drug use in the little cities as well, you see the same thing, socioeconomic. So I have learned that I don't let the externalities that I know influence these people affect how I deal with their humanity. Because if I get there, then the capitalists win, because that is what they need to survive. And one of the things that I try to teach folks, or I try to get folks
That's a
to
good way to look at it.
go ahead. Oh,
No, I was just agreeing. That's a good way to look at it. You know,
right,
like when Bush say, if we don't do such and such, then the terrorists win. But instead, the
right,
capitalists win. You just kind of took that same
right,
principle, and I see what you did there.
right.
But continue.
Yeah. So I mean, my thing is, I am not going to leave Brother Lee Grant alone. I'm not going to leave Eric alone. I'm not going to leave Mike Sisek alone. All right. And they're here. And you know what? Guess what else, Ray? They're here every day. I honor them for being here every day. And I'm concentrating on my MAGA folks right now because I'm trying to make a point. But my progressives, I don't have. I love you all. I love everybody. But I'm concentrating on my MAGA folks right now. You have to understand, because again, if I allow this to occur, for that hate to creep in, then that's exactly what they need. They need us to be at each other's throats to win. That's the only way they win, right? And I'm not going to do it. And what I try to tell folks is, I don't expect everybody to handle things the way I do, right? Like, I can sit down next to my sister and I can say like, well, XYZ, ta 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 ta, and there are times that I want to react. But before I react, I always ask the next question: is that going to move the conversation forward? Now, every now and then I slip. I'm not gonna say I don't, but I try to minimize slippage into that. We're all human, you know what I mean? And for those people who just can't take it, I have no disrespect for them. I just say, look, go get your sanity break. Like our sister Bridge MCP, I know sometimes she's pulling out her hair, and it's like, babe, you know, take your space when you need to take your space in the whole discussion, because she's very active all over the internet. Take your break when you need to take your break. So anyway, Ray, anything else, my brother?
Yeah, actually, Egberto, I had something for this morning, but I knew that your phone lines were jammed.
Oh
I
man, they
actually
were
wanted to just,
crazy.
yeah, I wanted to take a moment to actually read this quote from George Carlin, because that's our boy.
I love George.
So it's basically it's basically his opinion on abortion, and it reads, "Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They'll do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own. Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're preborn, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're screwed."
You know what, Ray? Call
Yeah.
earlier and read that, because our 6 o'clock audience need to hear that. Our 6 o'clock audience need to hear that. So if you wake
Yeah,
up
I'm gonna get.
sometime in the next few days, call early so that we have the time to put on. Because look, the phones were crazy to this morning. I mean, we have 6 lines that can be on at the same time. And as soon as one hung up, another one was there. As soon as one hung up, another one came in. It was a crazy morning. But that's what makes it a
Hey, you're the
good
popular
room.
man.
I mean, you guys are great. That's all I can say. You guys are great. But anyhow, anything else?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, I don't necessarily believe in God, but like I do believe, I hope you and your sister much health, and continue loving on each other. I'm going to continue trying to work on myself and hug on somebody that makes me mad, because my original impulse is to want to pour powder in my hand and slap them in the face so they look as stupid as they sound. But we live in a society, and you can't go around slapping people with powder in your hands, especially in
brother.
Texas.
Thank you, brother. Hey, love you, man. We talk later, okay?
All right. Love you too, brother. Take care.
All right. Peace. All right. Anyway, folks, we are close to the end of the show. As usual, I love what we do here, but it's time for me to go. I love George Carlin to Bridge MCP. Hey, E2247, I'll hit your numbers tomorrow, okay? I'm sorry I didn't get to any of them, but the one that I will. Oh, there we go. Bridget is in. Bridge. Talk to me, sister. Talk to me.
Yeah, I know it's late. I'll be fast. And it's funny because I knew your sister was not MAGA. I could tell that right away. And I think that my two sisters are MAGA. And the one thing we've always talked about is that they didn't like the way, the major complaint was, they didn't like the way everybody makes fun of Trump. They're constantly making fun of him drinking water, walking, whatever. And that's the thing that bothers them. And they have to stand up for him. And I was like, well, he's a grown man, and he does have those issues. I mean, why do you, he doesn't even know, have to stand up for him? They were like, you have to understand, you always make fun of him. I said, because he's an idiot. And they're like, see, there you go again. I'm like, well, I mean, look, I mean, and then they say, oh, you think you were a college professor, you know everything. I said, he is an idiot. So that's our conversation, and me and my sister, we talk about everything in the world. We're, you know, she's my sister. I'm not going to let that get between us. We do not talk politics at all, but we're complete opposites. And they always say to me at the ending, because they're very Christian. Ever notice that? They're always very Christian, which is really Protestant in old terms. They're very Christian. She always says to me, I know you're gay, and I don't have a problem with that. But please remember, you're going to hell. Huh?
You know, you need to send her the George Carlin stuff about people going to hell. There's a clip on you. Maybe I'll find that clip for you and send it to you. So you
I've seen so many of them, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to hell. Well, I know my hell's not going to be your hell, but whatever. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there. It just cracks me up. So anyway, it was a good interview with your sister.
Thank you very much, Bridget. Coming from you, that means a lot, sis. We talk, all right?
Okay, later. Bye.
Love you, girl. Have a good one. We talk.
You too.
All right, folks. We got to close this baby up now. I just want to give a quick thing to say. Please go ahead and support the program. How can you support the program? politicsdoneright.com/support is the all-encompassing support. politicsdoneright.com/support. But if you really want to help us sort of on a sustaining basis, consider becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. We need hundreds and hundreds more. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and become a paid subscriber. That'll help us a lot. Allison Dream says, I am one who can't hardly deal with it without getting upset. I know, Alice Aaron, but again, practice and practice it. You can practice it, and eventually it works out. Anyway, gotta go, guys. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. Let's get this stuff going. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.